Hello everyone. Hello. Very happy to be here. I'm not from Malaysia, but I live in Malaysia, so it's quite nice to be home somehow. This is my, whoops, this is my fifth WordCamp as a speaker. First time in Asia, so it's quite exciting. It's a very big room here. I mean, normally it's, woo! Yeah, so I hope that you will actually keep the momentum going, like the meetups. I know there is some talk of doing that once a month. Just do it, which means, guys, if you like this stuff, you need to support it. So join up, like talk to Sam later, say, let's do this meetup once a month. And I know that any of you, if you have something to say, you can also give a talk. I mean, everyone can actually give a talk. I was on that side, now I'm on this side, right? So we come and go all the time. So I came to talk to you about POP. It's a framework that I have built. So this is not about promoting my own stuff, even though I will be promoting my own stuff, so I'm sorry about this. And it's going to be technical. So are you guys happy talking technical stuff? Yeah? Okay, awesome. If you're developers, this is good stuff for you. If you're like marketing people, not so much, but I think that that's going to be very empowering in a way. So what is POP? It's called Platform of Platforms. So there are like three URLs that you can actually pay attention to. The first one is getpop.org. This is the website. You have documentation, you have the explanation how it works. Then you have a demo that you can play with. I will encourage you to go to this demo, which is demo.getpop.org, and play with it. Also try to destroy it if you can. I hope you cannot though. And finally, GitHub. So this is all open source. If you're a developer, if you like this idea, go ahead, contribute. So what is POP? POP creates a single page application website. So let's start from this. Do you guys know what is a single page application website? No? Yes? No? Okay, so it's basically a website that becomes like a desktop app in a way that it doesn't refresh the whole page each time that you go from link to link. Okay, so if you have seen Calypso, for instance, Calypso is a single page application. And basically when you're talking about JavaScript, you're basically talking about building single page applications, something that is dynamic, okay, and that is quite fast, and that it gives a new way to use the application that you couldn't do in the past. I mean, we were talking just now about Gutenberg, right? Gutenberg will allow things to be done that you cannot do nowadays with a PHP-based solution. So this is the idea with a single page application. It's an application that happens on the front end, building new interactions mainly through JavaScript. So POP creates single page application websites by combining WordPress on the back end and handlebars, which is JavaScript templates on the front end. So basically what it does is it uses WordPress in the back end to get the data, and it transforms this data into HTML in the front end. So how does it work? So it captures the request on the front end and it sends it to the web server using Ajax. Then in the web server, we just get all the data that we need from WordPress. We give it back as a JSON call. I'm not using WordPress REST API. I'm using something that is part of POP. Actually, it's more comprehensive in a way. I will show you why later on. Then we use this JSON call we give it to handlebars in the front end. We merge that into HTML, and we embed HTML on the DOM. We execute some JavaScript, and there you are. So it's highly dynamic, basically. So the key design principles, I'm going to show you this on the website now. The first one, that is the most important design principle for the framework, is that the website is an API. So normally, and this is one of the key differences with the WordPress REST API, WordPress REST API, it's an API that allows you to export functionalities, but you still need to code the extra functionalities. So you end up having two parallel websites. The server-side one that you have historically, okay? Now you add WordPress REST API, you send some JSON code, and then you need to build some views in the front end. Okay, so you are duplicating your work. But with POP, you have only one, which is the website, and is the API, and is the website. It's just one. So how does it work? By just adding one parameter, which is output equals JSON, to any page on the website, you get the API. So I'm going to show you this. So this, there's a new version of the website. So this website, getpop.org, was built using POP, of course. And if you add output equals JSON to that same URL, you get the API to power that page. If you remove the parameter, you get the website once again. So this is the cool thing about POP, that it makes no distinction between website and API. It's just one. Everything is just one, and you code it only once, and it works for both cases. And it's the case with absolutely any page on the website. So let's say that I go to a post. So now I'm looking at a post here. Oops. And I have the API with the data for the post. Okay, so basically it's not something you have to program on a case-by-case basis. It just scans by default. It's embedded in the system. So the second thing that is quite unique to POP, and this is the title from my talk, is two POP websites talking the same language, they can communicate with each other. Basically, they're talking the same JSON code. So this allows for decentralization. So when I talk decentralization, I'm not talking like blockchain, okay, that you have it like distributed among different like servers and the whole application is distributed. What I'm talking is that you have websites, my website, your website, his website, that now they can talk to each other and they can share data, okay? So say that I have my events on my website and he has his events and some other person has their own events, I can have now in one single events calendar the events being pulled from all of these different websites and show them on one single place. So like an aggregator in a way. So this is quite important coming from the WordPress world, right? Because we found out just today that you have 29% of all websites in the world are made with WordPress. So imagine having 29% of all the websites combining its data into one single place, okay? And then you can have all the data in one place and you can filter it from there. So this is the biggest social network in the world. Not even Facebook will be as big as that. And it will be decentralized, so the data belongs to each one of the people owning the websites. I have my data in my website. I don't have to give you my data, but yet you can consume my data. I give it to you. So that is basically the idea. So I'm going to show an example of this. I have a few websites with POP. One of these is called Messim. It's a WordPress website, of course, which is an environmental community in Malaysia. It has its own events calendar, as I was mentioning. It has projects here listing different environmental projects happening in Malaysia. Okay, and then I have another website. This one is called Sukipop. And Sukipop, what it does is it fetches data from different websites. Okay, so if I open this events calendar here, it's fetching events from messim.com. So you can see here it's, well, I don't think you can actually see, but it's actually pointing to messim.com. So let me show you this here. I had this event called World Vegan Day Malaysia Day. If I open it here, it opens locally. I mean, nothing great there. But if I click here, it also opens it locally on this other website. Okay, so this is like an awesome feature. It doesn't open on a new tab because you're going to another website. It opens it locally. So this is transparent to the user. You can actually fetch the data from different websites and show it under one single place. And the user may be unaware of this. So what can we do with POP? So the first thing is that each of these POP websites, the one that I was showing you, messim.com, is actually working. It's in Malaysia. It's a social network. So it's, in the case of Messim, it's a social network about the environment. Okay, if you want to talk about the environment, you can actually add your content, add hashtags, add mentions, follow other people. It's a social network all by itself. And POP, the target of POP, is to create communities. So a community on environment, a community on economy, politics, sports, you just name it, okay? So that's the first case scenario. If you want to have a community, it doesn't have to be big. We're not talking about having Facebook. We're talking about having like 20 people who are your friends and you want to talk about one topic of interest, cricket, whatever, then you can have a POP website and allow your community to share content, okay? It works like any of the social networks that we use because we are all used to this functionality, so we are basically re-implementing them in this context. But the next step is to make it decentralized. Once you have your own social network, you can actually share your data with other social networks and have one single point of access for all related information. So in the case of Messim, it's about the environment, and maybe there is another website on, I don't know, healthy living. You can actually say that they're related, so then you have yet another website fetching the data from all these websites and show them on one single place. So this is the vision. This is not a reality yet. SukiPop, it's a demo. It's not actually something that is actually working. Not working technically, working from the community point of view. So the technology is there, okay? But as always, something to succeed depends on the people, okay? This is one of the key things with Gutenberg. Gutenberg will succeed because the community will actually support it, not because of the technology. Technology is amazing. I mean, and there's no doubt that it's going to allow you to build much bigger, better, faster websites. But if you don't have the support of the community, then nothing will happen. So where I am right now is I have the technology, and now I'm actually reaching out to the community. I'm on ground zero for community-wise. Like I don't have a community of people yet using this, but the technology is out there. So as I mentioned, some potential uses, you can have it as a decentralized social network. You could do this as a decentralized marketplace, integrating this with WooCommerce. You can have an aggregator, kind of dig. The JSON code that you get is already the code to power any application. So it could be embedded for a mobile app. Okay, so this is the server backend for the mobile app. And finally, microservices, that you can actually have different components on the website being fed from different domains. Each one of them is a kind of microservice of sorts. So characteristics, as I told you before, I'm going to go a tiny bit fast because actually I don't have so much time. 20 minutes is not so much for this. So single page application, so it's a very dynamic website. It happens all on the client. So here, if I click add new post, it just opens it there. Well, I'm not going to show you, but you can actually play with this. Add new post. Here you have, this is like the TinyMC on the backend. I just put it on the front end. Okay, and there are like many other things that you can actually do here. You can actually mention people. Oops. You can add hashtags. You can upload your feature image, of course. When you click submit, it will create it and it will be online immediately. Now I'm not logged in. Then, this is JavaScript. And then you might actually think, oh, but that sucks, right? Will Google find my information? Well, the response is yes, because Google is intelligent, Bing, not so much. But just to be on the safe side, we should actually deliver this as HTML. And this has this capability. So even though it is actually built with JavaScript, the JavaScript can be rendered in the server side, so that you actually render HTML and you produce and you deliver HTML when you're first loading the website. After you have loaded the website, from then on, it's just JavaScript on the client side. So you have the best of both worlds. A really dynamic, really fast website, but it is still loading HTML when you're loading the website. And also that allows you to interact with other services. Like if you have heard, I don't know if you have heard of the Indie Web, for instance, but basically the Indie Web is another service that you need HTML. So you need to have HTML. Then it is fully usable by third parties also. So this allows you to interact with other parties because it gives you back HTML. And the really cool thing is something called isomorphic. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. That it means that the same input has different outputs. So in this case, the same JavaScript templates that you're coding for the front end, you're actually parsing them and rendering them into HTML. You don't need to do this twice. And this is one of the differences with using WordPress REST API, as I was mentioning, that you need to code yet another application to work on the front end. So you'll have like double the work. But in this case, you do it only once, and it has the output in the server and also in the front end. We can skip this. Then, this works as a progressive web app. So are you guys aware what a progressive web app is? Yes? No? Raise your hand if you know what it is. Okay, not many. So a progressive web app, it's an application that is a website actually. The name is actually misleading. It should be called progressive website They call it Progressive Web App for marketing reasons. It's basically a website, like a standard website, what you might have with WordPress, but also behaves like an app. What does that mean? That, for instance, it works offline, so that if you're not connected to the internet, you can still open and browse the information. It receives push notifications, and you can install an icon on your home screen in your device, and when you tap on the icon, it will open full screen. It doesn't open on the browser so that you see the URL. It opens on its own window. So it makes no difference to the user. It's a website, yet it's an app. And you're making it only once. So it's like the best of both worlds. So this POP is Progressive Web App from like out of the box. So it has this really cool thing that it works offline. So for instance, let's hope this actually works, because this is not my computer and I have not tested this. But if I disconnect from the internet here, and here it goes. Do you see that? So I'm actually offline right now, and I press refresh and it works. It doesn't say you're offline. Okay? So if I open this now on my mobile phone when I'm on the tram, on the train, and there's no connection, it works. Okay, this is an important point for this person who was asking about JavaScript with Gutenberg, PHP. Do we need to learn JavaScript? Response is yes, but not so much. Because the way that POP works is a hybrid between PHP and JavaScript. So instead of having the logic on the front end, if you have a JavaScript framework such as Angular or React, the logic is on the front end. You have to actually direct the flow of the application from the front end. The front end will tell the server, give me this, give me this, give me that. But the way that POP works is that the back end tells the front end what to do, and it's still coded in PHP. So you have the skill sets to do this. You don't need to learn a new technology. I think this is actually quite cool coming from WordPress, and this I built it for myself. I also don't want to learn JavaScript. Now, there's no problem learning JavaScript. I mean, it's awesome, but there's only so much that I can do as an individual. I cannot keep learning stuff, right? I mean, if I keep learning the latest framework, I mean, I can never do any productive work. Next year, there's a new one, and I have to learn it yet again. So this is something that is possibly not as fancy. It doesn't allow you to do, it's not reactive, okay, that you can actually type stuff and you get it dynamically written on real time, like letter by letter by letter. And you cannot do the collaboration that we were just looking at with Gutenberg, okay? But it's good enough. It's a blog. I mean, you have a WordPress blog, now it is dynamic, okay? And it doesn't take much effort to implement with this technology. So basically, that is the main takeaway, that it doesn't take much effort to actually implement. Front-end features. I'm going to show you a few features on the website. Oops, I was offline, but now I'm online. Yeah, this one first. So, okay, well, this is still development feature. This works by having components wrap each other in an endless nesting that it makes it extremely scalable and extremely reusable. So do you see these squares here, like this square and this square and this square and this square and this square? They're like atomic modules that they just provide one single functionality. Like this guy is just a link, and that's all what he does. But then you have components wrapping components with all the stuff inside, okay? So in this case, you have this and this and this and this and this, and these are atomic. But then this guy is wrapping all of these other guys, and this other guy is wrapping all of this. And finally, this guy, which is the whole page, is wrapping everyone. So it's basically a Lego. You're actually playing Lego when you're doing Lego. Lego, right? Lego. So you're playing Lego. You're building blocks. My definition of block is kind of similar to Gutenberg in this case. I've been working with blocks for a few years now, wrapping each other in bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger patterns. And finally, the last pattern out there is your website. But you start with the very atomic thing. So it's It's extremely scalable. It allows you to have rich presentations with very little effort. So this is a view of users, and this is another view of the same data, and another view of the same data, and another view of the same data. And to actually create these different views and switch between them takes no effort. You can integrate it with plugins. This one is an integration with Events Manager for events, and I created a Google Map that it shows all the users on a Google Map. Then the same way that you can customize these views on an atomic level, you can also make it like application-wise. So this is a different view that is embeddable, and you can actually have different buttons here to embed this, or you can actually make it printable. The same website, and all it takes is just one single parameter, that is theme mode. You say which is the mode, how you want to show it, and in the website has already different presentation. Then you can open the same content on different page sections or targets, which is where you open the data. If I click there, it opens this blog post on this side window. If I click here, it opens them on a floating window. And if I click here, it opens on a model. Same data, different presentations, different placeholder where to do it, and the difference between this and this and this is just one parameter. Then it has tabs. So all the content, all the pages that you open in the website, they remain open and accessible through tabs as much as you have in your browser. So we open these pages, okay? They remain open. If I disconnect from the internet, okay, and I reload my website, oops, I don't have it. It will open the same tabs, supposedly, so that you can actually keep the content that you had open from the previous sessions. Oh, thank you. And now it opens the stuff that I had previously loaded on my previous session. And it's offline. As you can see, I'm not even connected to the internet. But let's connect so we can see the images, right? Maybe it doesn't work. Okay, no internet, I will explain. So we have user notifications, okay? So basically everything I do on the website, I can follow other users and I will get notifications on real time. This person has created a new post, your friend. And it's a lot of filters like to search for information. So the whole idea with POP is to create communities who care about one specific topic of interest. In the case of messing.com, it's about the environment. So I want the information in one place, and then you can actually find the information by hashtags, by who created the content, or by different other criteria. So it's very powerful for managing content. It's a blog, basically, okay? But then you have the tools to manage all of this. Yeah. Yeah, well, and this is pretty much it. Then from here it gets quite technical because I can show you the code, but maybe we don't want to see the code because we don't have time. So if you're interested in seeing the code, how this works, we can see this later. And in any case, if you want to have your passport stamp, you have to come to me anyway, okay? So yeah, so now we can open up for questions. Anyone has any question? Yep.
Hey, question, because you said we can have the same content presented on different websites, right? So we have 5 different communities, let's call them, 5 different websites, and you can serve the same content on each and every one of them. What if I don't want to? How can I restrict content just to 3, or take some content from here, some content from there?
Can. Actually, there are several approaches to that. First one is that website-wise, you do not just share content without permission. Technically speaking, you need to give them access to execute your scripts. So you need to add permission in the htaccess to allow them to. So first thing is that it is explicit. You say this website can access my data. Okay, that's the first level. But second level is I don't want all of the content. I just want few posts. Okay, so there is a mechanism to add a tag to the content on the original website that is not visible on that content, that is basically used just to filter information for the other website. So then you can say, give me all your content with this tag, and that's only what I am interested about.
Thank you.
Any other question? Yep.
Hi, I'm a SEO manager here. User is a Google compatibility, right? So if I took the content from 5 different sources, it's a duplicate content for Google. How can we handle about it?
Well, the content has a source, and the source is the one that takes the priority. So Google will know to show the results from the original website. And also the URL, if I click here, let me show you, well, I need to reload this, and I have no internet again. Let's see if I can do it here. Okay, so yeah, it did work. So I just click on a post from another website, and the URL is still under Sukipop. So sukipop.com/external, and URL equals the URL from that external website. So they don't have the same URL. So this guy, Google will find it under this URL. Now, it could be done to actually, I hadn't thought about this, to be honest, but you can actually link 2 pages on Google. You can say this content actually goes back to that website. So it's perfectly doable. So yeah, then it's only the original source that accounts for Google.
Any other questions?
So, hi Liew, good talk. I have 2 questions. The first question is, what's your loading strategy for the JSON request? Because currently I see that your output is global, that means it's requesting everything on the page. So let's say I have a table, I have paginations. How does the strategy goes? That's the first question. And my second question is, when it comes to localization, okay, sometimes you want to request data based on the language. So what's the current support for that in POP?
Okay, so first one is you only send the data that you need and nothing else. So let me show you something. I have to show you, sorry that we're getting into technical thing here, but when I scroll down, I'm not online. So I'll reply to your second question first. It has language support, so actually this /en means English. This website is in English and Malay. So yeah, it has support for language. The first one, as you can see, I'm offline. Okay, so I'll reply to you without showing you. You only show the data that you only fetch what you need and nothing else. So when I'm actually scrolling down here, I'll actually show you even though it will not work. So it did a fetch of the data, adding one other parameter, which is module equals data. I don't think you can see it, but that's another parameter. So you have output equals JSON and module equals data. That means send only the data and not the configuration of the page. It sends exactly what you need and nothing else. So the content is not repeated. Yeah. If I had an internet connection, I can actually show you, maybe later. Okay, another question?
Okay.
Hi, Leonardo. Yeah, I see there's some copyright issues over here. So we're going to put in the roadmaps, some sort of like consensus frameworks. I might not want you to be coming in without my consent to pull my content from my website and you just show it on your site.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happening in the Toutiao in China. Yeah, they're using AI to pull all the content from all the publishers and news website and monetize from their websites.
Yeah.
Well, I see some legal issues here.
Okay. As I mentioned before, you actually need to have the explicit consent of the website to share the data with the website. Actually, it's technically a problem that you need to add a line on the HT access to say this website can consume my data. So then it's not a problem, because in order to consume this guy's data, he has to give you right. He has to give you approval. If he doesn't, then you cannot do it. That might happen, what you actually say, with scrapers. If you actually go to a page and you scrape for the information, yeah, because it's out there. But this is actually different because it's like scripting, and to execute the script, you need cores enabled, and then you need to have the permission of the website. So it is more secure and is safe in that sense. Yep. Okay, some other question? Okay, I guess not. So if you're interested, okay, one more question.
Just a quick one, theoretical, more than practical right now, I guess. So if you have 1,000 websites and you want to share the data between all of them, so that's 1,000 lines of HT access in each and single one of them. How does that scale?
So in the HT access, I do not know. I mean, it's not 1,000 lines. It's just one line with 1,000 domains. Yeah, fine. I don't know because I don't have 1,000 websites yet. But content-wise, on the front end, you will also not show content from 1,000 websites. And if you do, because you're that big, we will have a way to filter the information. So this will work like WooCommerce, that when you go to the shopping, to the e-commerce site, you first have to select the category, right? What are you looking for? Clothes, electronics, furniture. So then the website will have to have some categorization of the content so that the 1,000 are hidden behind like a few steps. So then you click, oh, category, sports, and then you get only maybe the 15 websites just for sports. But that's on the front end. On the back end, I don't know. Actually, I don't know how it will scale up in that sense. I think it should not be a problem because it's just a developer adding one extra line of code. It takes 1 minute. So, and scalability in the front end is extremely scalable. That's what actually I care about users being able to use and to consume your content. And that is not the problem. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is open source. Okay, I'm not making money out of this. I want to make money out of this. I haven't found out how to make money out of this yet. Okay, I hope in the upcoming months I will launch this as a theme that you can download and install for free and have it running, and then plugins that you can integrate into Pop. So if this sounds exciting and you like to actually know more about this, just come talk to me later. And as I said, it's open source, so hopefully if you like what I showed you, play with it, download it, use it, let me know if you find it useful. If not, you can actually send me suggestions, okay? And if you want to contribute, that will be more than welcome. So yeah, thanks very much.